Could there be some new NFL free agent targets on the market? The Athletic did an article on each team's most likely player that they might cut in the next couple of months. So on today's show, I'm going to be going over 5 players I think the Packers should target, Packers should look at if those guys get cut. Some important dates to note on NFL free agency, okay? Because it's coming very, very quickly. We're less than 3 weeks away already. And on March 4th, that's when the franchise tag deadline is at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Then March 10th, just 6 days later, teams can contact agents of unrestricted free agents. And then 2 days later, on March 12th, that is when the free agent signing period and the trading period begin. Both of those 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be an exciting time. And if you want daily coverage for all NFC free agency things and all off season for the Green Bay Packers, you have found the right place to be. We get you a video every single day of the week. The best coverage money can buy right here on YouTube. So if you haven't already, join us and hit that subscribe button. Starting off with an edge rusher target is Mr. Joey Bosa, currently with the Los Angeles Chargers. They're expecting to possibly part ways with him. This is what Daniel Popper of The Athletic had to say. Bosa has a $36.47 million cap hit for 2025, according to Over the Cap. That is the highest cap hit for any edge rusher in the league this year. Bosa has not been close to that level of player in quite some time, largely due to injury. And a lot of people call Joey Bosa, the Jair Alexander of the Los Angeles Chargers. He's got a lot of potential. When he's healthy, when he's on the field, he's an absolute stud, but it's that when. It's that if. And he hasn't been there a lot, especially over these past couple seasons. You can see in 2022 and 2023, only 14 games played. But if you look back at this past year, it was a fine year. 34 pressures, had a really good run defense grade of 73.7. But the overall and the pass rush isn't what you'd expect from a guy expected to come in here and be this team's best edge rusher, which is what would happen if the Packers decided to take a flyer on Bosa. And if I was Brian Gutekunst, I would take that flyer. Honestly, give me 1 year of Joey Bosa. If he's healthy, I think it works out phenomenally. If he's not healthy, then heck, you just wasted money for 1 year. It's not that big of a deal, okay? What would you do, though? Let me know in the comment section down below. Would you sign Joey Bosa if he is cut? Give me a yes. Give me a no in the comment section down below. You've heard my answer. Now I want to hear yours. Up next, we got a cornerback, Darius Slay, formerly with the rival Lions, then moved on to Philadelphia. Now it's a chance. Him and Philadelphia are parting ways after the Super Bowl. Brooks Kubina of The Athletic said that Slay, 34, battled multiple injuries during the season. He missed 1 game with a knee injury, another with a groin injury, and sat out the regular season finale while resting the entire week. And a cut with a post-June 1st designation not only saves the Eagles $4.3 million in 2025, but also $17.7 million in 2026. And Slay had a really good year, right? He was battling with the knee and a groin injury all this past year. So obviously he wasn't to his full health, but still a coverage grade of almost 70. That's pretty solid. And only 371 yards and 2 touchdowns allowed. And the biggest thing about Philadelphia and the probability of Darius Slay getting cut is they've got Blankenship and they've got Cooper DeJean. They have who they feel is their core and their secondary, their young core. And if you could save $4 million this year and $17 million next year, then I think they might do that. I think they're going to get rid of Slay. And I like Slay. I really do. I think he's a really good corner, and I would not be upset at all if Green Bay went ahead and make that move. But I think there's better cornerbacks to be had and to be gotten. I don't know if that's the correct way to say that, but I think there's better corners that you can find in free agency. Okay, we talked a lot about Charvarius Ward. We talked a lot about DJ Reed. We talked a little bit about Asante Samuel Jr. as well. All of those guys I would take over Slay because of their youth and because I just think they got a little bit more years left than Slay does. Coming up, I'm going to give you 3 more possible free agent targets the Packers could acquire or could look to acquire if they get cut. But before I do that, I got to bring attention to the month-long sub battle right here in February. We've got less than a week left until it's March. ladies and gentlemen. No more messing around. I need you guys to help me out and hit that sub button. We are only 7 above Bears now. We've finally taken over the lead, and let's extend it. Okay, so hit that sub button if you're with me. Up next, we got a wide receiver, and I don't know if you guys know this player. His name is Davante Adams, wide receiver with the New York Jets. Zach Rosenblatt said that Adams played well for the Jets, but he only came to New York to play with his friend. His contract is mostly non-guaranteed, so cutting him or trading him would save $29.8 million in cap space with an $8.3 million dead cap charge. And it's going to be a full rebuild in New York, like it seems to be every 2 or 3 years or so. And with Aaron Rodgers gone, we all know that means they're going to part ways with Davante Adams, especially because of how much he's cost. But man, if you just look at the production, especially what he's done in the past few years, I'm really impressed by, because he's done it with 2 of the worst franchises in the National Football League right now, and he's still putting up great numbers. I've talked a lot about how he can be a veteran presence in this room filled with a lot of really young talent, okay? He's still an elite route runner. And I think that if you could get him in here, he still has the ability to be a wide receiver 1, even at the age of 32, which is one of his cons, okay? He's getting up there, he's getting older, and this isn't one of those positions that you can play at an elite level for very long. Hopefully he defies that. But also, I think something that not a lot of people realized last year, he's really good at getting open against man coverage, because, like I said on the top, he's an elite route runner. However, he had the 2nd lowest catch percentage in the National Football League against man coverage, okay? So the hands aren't exactly what they used to be. My take on this is I would love a reunion. However, I kind of believe it's unlikely. Okay, I think there's a good chance he just follows Aaron Rodgers wherever he goes next, and those 2 for the next 3, 4, 5 years, however long Rodgers continues to play, are most likely going to just be a package deal, okay? As weird as it is, they've already got bunk beds in every single team city across the United States, so expect him to just follow Aaron Rodgers. What say you? What is the percentage chance for an Adams reunion? Let me know in the comment section down below. Scale it for me, 1 to 100. 100, you're saying it's going to happen no matter what. 1, you're saying no chance at all. Let me know your thoughts. How about another reunion? Okay, how are we feeling about Za'Darius Smith back in a Green Bay Packer uniform? Nick Baumgardner said it's certainly possible Smith finds his way back to Detroit next season, but it's hard to see it happening on the contract Detroit inherited via last year's trade with Cleveland. Cutting Smith prior to June 1 would give the Lions nearly $6 million in cap savings without any dead money penalties. And off the top, I'm just going to be honest with you guys, Smith coming back to Green Bay feels very, very unlikely, okay, because of the way it ended and because the injuries and the way he was treated by this entire front office, this entire, ownership group, Brian Gutekunst, everybody in that situation, he left with a pretty bad taste in his mouth. And you could tell, right? Because this year, after beating Green Bay in December, Smith said, I had a chance to go to the Vikings and get my revenge, and I came to Detroit and got my revenge again, okay? So it's obvious he does not have very fond feelings and fond memories of being in Green Bay, okay? So at the end of the day, things ended horribly. I don't think Smith wants back. I would love Smith back, okay? I don't think he's quite the player that he was before he went to Minnesota, before his exit, before his injury, frankly. However, I still think he could be a great asset in terms of getting to the passer. Let's talk about our last one, ladies and gents, and that is wide receiver out of Jacksonville, Christian Kirk. Jeff Howe of The Athletic said the Jaguars don't have a lot of options to easily free up chunks of cap space. Cutting Kirk would save $10.4 million in cap space if the Jags need to make a splash move. His production has declined each of the past 2 seasons due to injuries, and that's kind of the name of the game for a lot of people on this list, right? They once were great. They have great potential, but they haven't been able to have it seen through because of their injuries. And he broke his collarbone in October, if you remember, against the Green Bay Packers. I think he would immediately come into this room filled with Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, and Christian Watson towards the tail end of the season. I think he'd compete for a wide receiver 1 spot, okay? I do think with Christian Watson being gone, and if you bring in Christian Kirk, he's kind of the same size as a Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs. He's not a massive wide receiver, but I think if he can stay healthy for a full year, he might be able to be that wide receiver 1 that this offense so desperately needs. And I'd add him if it's less than $10 million a year. Okay, he's not healthy enough for me to want to pay anything more than that. Maybe $12 million is what I would absolutely max out, and that's only because the cap space situation for Green Bay is so fortuitous, but I would do nothing over that. Okay, think he'd be a good asset. I don't want to pay too much for him. Shout him out in the comment section down below. Name a probable free agent you want the Packers to sign. Who's a guy that you want to see in green and gold coming up in 2025. Thanks so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Packers Report. I am your host, Joey Petersen, bringing you daily coverage of your favorite team in green and gold. So if you haven't already, join our family today and subscribe.